I'm sure you felt it at some point. It might have been a brief moment in the grocery store, or when riding the bus to work on a Friday morning. But it is most noticeable in times of big changes in society. Distress, crisis, and things on a larger scale that affects us all. Fear is a dominant factor. I'm talking about the feeling in the air. The Germans have a word for it. They call it the zeitgeist, which roughly translates to the spirit of the age. And it describes the feeling of the collective consciousness in a nation or society. It was coined in 18th to 19th century German philosophy. And I think I have always felt this, but it wasn't until recently I discovered that there is a name for it. David Lynch talked about this in an interview. It's more obvious now than ever in my lifetime. You can feel it when you go outside. Everything's become a little colder. There is something lingering in the air that I have never felt before. It's like a chokehold that's nestled itself into our collective consciousness, forever changing how we perceive the world from now on. Imagine the amount of fear being projected in people's minds during these times, and how it affects us as a collective. It's hard not to be consumed by this, and I think it is important to be able to distinguish the collective mind from our own. I think the feeling in the air, or the zeitgeist, is always changing, based on what we as individuals and as a collective are projecting out there. Is this something that can be measured? I thought that it could only be felt, but lately I've been reading up on and thinking a lot about the Schumann resonance. It is the frequency of Earth's electromagnetic field. In other words, the frequency of our reality. It has been steady at 7.83 Hertz until 3 years ago when it started rising. It's now jumping between 15 to 25 Hertz, changing in activity every day. We know it is affected by solar flares and electromagnetic storms. But what if it's also affected by the collective consciousness? If you analyze it, you can see spikes of activity that match the events of the world. It's very interesting, and there is so much we don't know. But the world is going through big changes right now. It can be felt, measured, and seen every day. And I think it is more important than ever in times like these to turn the tide on fear. Because in the end, you are in control of what you project out there. No one else is. The collective mind might affect you to some degree, but if we are aware and take control of our own thoughts, it is easier to avoid being consumed by it. Because, as I mentioned in the beginning, you have probably noticed the effect of it on a Friday, going to work. People around you seem happier. The weekend is coming up. Everybody's made plans, and the cogwheel stops for a while. And the focus and thoughts change for a moment. Suddenly, there are positive vibes bouncing around everywhere. The feeling is different. Is it because of you only? Or everyone else? Or are we working some magic together here? I think it is quite obvious what's going on. And you can really sense how we are raising the energies together. Ultimately, we as individuals are responsible for ourselves and our well-being. But when it comes to a whole, much wider perspective, that can be quite hard to grasp. We have to work together. It is the only way.